Hello, everybody. Welcome into the 40 Acres post-game show live here with Matthew Miller and D4 Sports. We are brought to you by MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, as you see down below. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. Obviously, super excited to be back for the first game of the season with the Texas Longhorn win. I'll put the score up there, 52-10 versus Louisiana Monroe. Overall, a good performance. What'd you think, D4?
There's key components that I was impressed with. Still some components that I'm concerned with. As far as first game, pregame or first game jitters, we have young offensive line. There was some mistakes made, but all in all, we did what we were supposed to do against who we were supposed to do it against. So that's key right there.
100%. And I'm going to flash this up there real quick. What stood out? To me, a couple players I was talking to D4 before the show started. Barron Sorrell on the defensive side really stood out. Got a sack and a half. Played really well when he was in there. Got UT to me popped off the screen of getting a pretty consistent push and pass rush on the defensive line. Obviously, Deshaun Jameson with the interception return for a touchdown and also a blocked punt. Spectacular job by him on special teams. Overall, the special teams has gotten so much better since Jeff Banks has been here. Obviously, we had some snafus with what happened on the kick with Bert Auburn with the snap, and then the hold wasn't good either. But I think that'll be worked out, and those are young guys there at all those positions. They're all new, basically. So we need to give them time, and then the drop punt. But other than that, a pretty clean game as well. I basically stopped keeping track after the third quarter because after that, the benches were unloaded even into the third quarter, like 2 or 3 minutes left. They were unloaded. Hudson Card and a bunch of backups came in. But up until that point, we only had 3 penalties. So that's what stood out to me. What about you, D4?
Yeah, what stood out to me is, I know he didn't make a ton of plays or anything, but the one great catch he had, Casey Kane, showed explosiveness. Some of the young guys is what I'm impressed with. I have down here Casey Kane. Gilbo made a few outstanding plays. Coburn got his sack. And seeing Jamon Tapp applying pressure on the sack that Coburn benefited from, but he benefited from Tapp's pressure that ran him straight into Coburn. So seeing him and Justice Finkley get some time on the field, pass rush looked pretty good. That's what stood out to me. Is it may have been ULM's terrible offensive line, but we did what we were supposed to do.
100%. I think that's another takeaway from this game. We did exactly what we were supposed to do. There was nothing like fancy that we really had to do to score any points. It was pretty vanilla play calling from Sark for the most part. I like that he got Jatavian Sanders involved. He played very well in this game. Got his first touchdown catch along with Quinn Ewer's first touchdown throw. My key to the game coming into this, and we talked about this on the pregame and the Big 12 pregame, and also all the other Texas Live shows that we've done the past couple weeks, is Quinn Ewers needs to be able to connect on the deep ball. We did not see that tonight, and that is worrisome going in, obviously, into next week. So hopefully he can start to connect on those. Hopefully they get the rhythm and timing down in practice, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. He has the arm strength to make those throws down the field. It's all about the timing and the precision for him to be able to do that. So hopefully they get more reps in.
Yeah, he definitely showed off the arm strength. He actually, overthrowing Xavier Worthy a few times. He has the arm strength to get it there. His footwork was a concern to me a little bit on some of those throws. But the kid has a cannon, and some of the off-platform throws that Sark has been talking about during the preseason. We've seen a few of those tonight, to where he just made a play. And another thing that stood out to me was, man, Bijan just keeps adding to his repertoire. We know he's a great receiving back, and he just put that on full display tonight.
Yeah. And watching the game, when I looked down at the box score, I was surprised Bijan only had, 14 touches total, 10 carries, 4 catches. And I was kind of surprised by that. He seemed like he touched the ball more. And I think it's just because with the little touches he did get, he obviously did very well with them. I averaged over 7 yards a carry, had 40 yards on 3 catches and a touchdown. He just played a Bijan type game. It was very simple, very easy. That's how he makes the game look. And overall, we were on a nice cruise control. Anything else that stood out to you, D4?
Jatavion Sanders, just absolute beast. Including him in the game and our tight ends in the game. Helm had a very good catch to where he sat down and shuffled over to get open for Ewers. But Jatavion Sanders, I mean, 6 catches, 85 yards and a touchdown, 4.2 yards per reception. Couldn't ask more out of a guy that's basically getting his having his debut at the tight end.
Yeah, 100%. He looked really good. And did it surprise you with the depth chart coming out right before the game that Gunnar Helm was ahead of Jaleel Billingsley? Did that surprise you at all?
Yeah, surprisingly. I don't know whether the issues with Billingsley, his eligibility or something happened. I can't remember exactly word for word what it was, but I know there was an issue from the time that he was at Alabama lingering. I don't know if that came into be a factor tonight or not. So
yeah, that was the only really interesting thing that stood out to me on the depth chart. Everything else was basically what I expected. When I saw that, I was really surprised because if that's where he is on the depth chart the rest of the year, he kind of transferred for no reason, in my opinion. And it kind of sucks for him, but I was just surprised. And I think he can really help us out in the passing game because he's very big, very athletic. So hopefully he's able to climb up the depth chart.
yes.
I think can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're frozen though.
Frozen, yeah, I may have to back out here real quick. D4.
Okay. Again, going over a few, I mentioned Casey Kane, 1 reception, 43 yards. Bijan had 3 for 40. Jay Witt got involved. I hate that Xavier Worthy didn't get involved in the offense too much. He just had 2 receptions for 24 yards. But all in all, like Matthew said, it was very Manila playbook. So it is what it is, and hopefully we just open it up next week.
Yeah, and 100%. Another thing that I liked about it is Xavier Worthy in the return game had some really good plays. So I kind of like him back there, and I think it was a thing where you don't really want to get him injured in a game like this. There's no point, so they didn't really feed him. You saw what he could do last year, so I think you'll definitely see him featured more. We got a question here from Cody Helm. Is this season's week 2 Nick Saban coached Alabama team a bigger test than the one we faced in the national championship game before? Yes, because of the talent we have. Obviously, when we're going up against that 09 team, we're right on par with them. And in my opinion, if Colt McCoy stays healthy, we probably win that game. The issue here is the talent gap is still the talent gap in this game coming up is in Alabama's favor by far. We're not even ranked, and they're the number 1 team in the country. So that's the issue there.
I completely 100% agree. The talent gap right now is leaps and bounds above us. I mean, they have a proven quarterback, Heisman winner. You have Will Anderson, Dallas Turner. They're the number 1 team in the country for a reason. And I think it's a way bigger test this coming week than 09 was.
And I think everyone saw in these week 1 games, like the big discrepancy between you saw Georgia, the number 3 team in the country versus Oregon, number 11. I don't think Oregon's going to end up being a number 11 team in the country when it's all said and done at the end of the season, but they're a top 25 team, and Georgia beat them by 46 points. So when you get into that top 3 to 4 of college football, the gap widens from 4 to 5 and then so on and so forth. And we're not even ranked. So to me, if Texas can keep this game within 3 touchdowns, they overall did a pretty good job. That's what I expect. That's what I think most Texas fans expect. What about you, D4?
Yeah, I just want to be competitive. Bottom line, I want to be competitive in that game. I don't want it to look like a Georgia-Oregon score. I would, they showed the difference in the talent gap and coaching experience in that game. And I'm hoping that, like I said, keep it competitive, stay healthy, and show that we're on the come up.
100%. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be Notre Dame, Ohio State. Notre Dame played a very good game today, was able to keep Ohio State in front of them in control. But I definitely don't think it's going to be an Oregon versus Georgia situation either. That got out of hand quickly, and you could see the gigantic talent disparity there. I also think, obviously, Dan Lanning's first year. If this was going back to last year with Sark, that's a possibility if that's what that could have looked like if we played them last year. But what I think another year in a system with Quinn Ewers, at the quarterback position instead of Hudson Carter, Casey Thompson, I think we'll be able to keep it semi-close. And the thing is, too, when Hudson Card came in, he did not play well. He looked just as scared and jitterish as he did last year. It was really, really bad. It was sad to see. So hopefully, when he does eventually transfer, he can work on those things, and hopefully he can be a starting quarterback wherever he goes, because I wish him nothing but the best, but he just looks lost at times back there.
And he holds on to the ball way too long.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is a processing issue where he doesn't know what to do right away, and then he kind of gets scared and just basically just holds on to it and takes a sack when it's unneeded instead of just making a quick decision. Especially in Sark's offense, Sark's offense is very precision oriented. That's why Mac Jones thrived in it. It was quick timing, quick decision making, get the ball out to your playmakers and let them run wild. And Hudson Card is not the guy for that job. I think he'd benefit highly from like a read option type system or or something to utilize his athleticism and running a lot, in my opinion.
I completely agree. The system just doesn't fit him at all. And Sark, to Sark's credit, he didn't recruit the guy. He inherited him. And I think we've seen with him choosing Ewers in the quarterback battle that he did recruit that guy. That is his guy. That's who he wanted in his system. He got his guy, and Hudson looks like a fish out of water out there.
Was there anyone tonight that you wanted to show up that didn't D4?
Someone to show up that didn't.
The one name that comes to mind on defense is Jalen Ford didn't really flash that much to me on the defensive side of the ball. DeMarvion Overshown was flying around in that first half. He was playing great. Jalen Ford, on the other hand, was kind of when he played last year, he was like flew off the screen to me. Tonight, he didn't really do much for me.
Yeah, I wanted to see a little more out of Tucker Dorsey as well. But I'm not saying that they did anything wrong, but our safeties were not tested tonight.
No.
You know, Anthony Cook and Jaron Thompson, they come up and run support and did their jobs. But from the coverage aspect, our safeties really weren't tested. And that's back in my mind, that's an issue or a concern that I have with both of those guys transferring over to the safety positions. I wanted to see them get tested and see how they handled things and how the communication was.
Yeah, 100%. This ULM team isn't really going to throw things down the field much at you, but guess what? Next week, you're going to have to be prepared because Bryce Young is going to do exactly that. And that would have been nice to see, like you said, D4, but unfortunately, I think it's going to be baptism by fire for that secondary in week 2, and they're going to have to be ready because if they're not, Alabama can put up points quick. This game can get out of hand in a hurry, and this could be an embarrassing loss for Texas. So hopefully they're able to stand up to it. I think they will be able to. For the most part, I like our cornerbacks. Ryan Watts played pretty well today, and he is so much bigger than you realize. I did not think he would. When he's out there on the field, he looks like a defensive end playing cornerback. So that guy is what I think you're going to see going forward. Pete Kwiatkowski loves big, long, lengthy cornerbacks. Jalen Gilbo kind of fits that build too. So hopefully we have more guys like that coming in. And hopefully we can kind of temper or tone down Alabama's offensive attack next week.
An Alabama offense that I watched some of that game. Bryce Young went off for 6 touchdowns, 5 through the air, 1 on the ground. He had 100 yards rushing on 5 attempts. So that's saying a lot. And Jahmyr Gibbs didn't carry the ball that much. I think it was 9 carries for 93 yards. So they're definitely bringing a rushing attack at us. And as we know, their passing game is going to test our safeties. It's going to test Deshaun Jameson, Ryan Watts. The only Well, a bright spot, I think that Deshaun Jameson and Ryan Watts are ready to be tested. I think they're ready.
I would agree with that. I think those two are ready. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't pay super close attention to the other cornerback spot. Did Jahdae Barron play much tonight?
He did some, but him and Gilbo were in and out with each other.
Okay. Yeah, they in that second half, they blitzed Jalen Gilbo a lot. There was a lot of cornerback blitzes from Jalen Gilbo. I saw at least 3. I don't know if there's any more than that, but there was like 2 plays in a row where they just brought him on a blitz. And I'm interested to see if that's something where they just trust his athleticism and size to where he can affect the quarterback blitzing, if that's like the main role they're going to play him in.
100%. He reminds me of some of our defensive backs in the past that we've had. LW says Alabama's receivers are fast, but there isn't a. Oh, sorry, that is my right there. Alabama's receivers are fast, but there's that burner speed like Waddle and Williams on deep balls. I would agree on that. But Trayshawn Holden looked very good. I think he had 2 touchdowns, and Burton had 2 touchdowns, and Jace McClellan had 2 touchdowns. The running back out of the backfield.
Yeah, I think their wide receivers are more precision this year than speed, which is, I mean, they're still going to, and they play behind a decent offensive line with a really good quarterback. So they're still going to put up points against us. And Jermaine Burton, I really like. I think Georgia, he was way underutilized at Georgia. I think he's going to end up being like a 2nd or 3rd round pick coming out of Bama in the NFL draft. So that's one guy we definitely have to keep our eye on. Did the score of that game end up being 55-0? Did it stay 55-0?
Yes, it was 55-0.
Okay, yeah. I know it was like that for at least a quarter, and obviously Bama probably called back the dogs because they probably going to win that game like 70-something or 80-something to nothing. But of course they pitch a shutout because that defense, that's what us Longhorn fans are worried about, is that defensive line of Alabama's versus our young offensive line for the Texas Longhorns. And so far, so good. Like we said, it's just game 1 versus ULM, but Kelvin Banks looked to be pretty good. Cole Hudson held up okay. There were a couple plays in the run game where he wasn't losing, but he wasn't gaining either. He was kind of just a neutral guy at run blocking at some points, but overall, pretty good by him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I want to know from you, what do you think the key matchup? Did you get to watch any of the Alabama game?
I did not, actually, unfortunately.
Thank you, Tony Altamore. Hokum Horns. Ty Guy says, hey, great show, guys. We very, very much appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and all that good stuff. Thank you, Tim Prangley.
Nice win by you guys, too, Tim Prangley. USC looked really good tonight. Caleb Williams, missed 4 passes the whole night. So they're going to be really good. I think they're going to finish either 1 or 2 in the Pac-12, in my opinion. Them in Utah. I think Florida's a lot better than people think they're. Anthony Richardson looked very good tonight. Very good. He looked very much improved as a passer, and he kind of looked like Cam Newton 2.0 to me.
He impressed.
He was very good.
He impressed.
It'll be interesting. I don't know who they have week 2, Florida, but I'm interested to see how they come off that win versus a Utah team under a brand new coach and how they bounce back.
Florida has
Tide Guy, I appreciate that. I think it'll be a pretty good game for half, and then you guys pull away and beat us by like 20 to 24 points, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna. I mean, people can say it's stupid. We can say whatever. I think there's more respect with Sark and Saban. I think if Saban gets up by a manageable amount, he's going to save his guys and put it on cruise control, kind of like he did to Notre Dame a few years ago in the playoffs. That he got up 28-3 and put it on cruise control. I don't think they're going to get up 28-3 on us. I'm not saying that, but I think, yeah, we're 7-1 against you guys. So
yeah, but the thing is, you guys got the one. Like, we would trade all of those for the one you got against us. We trade them all. So
correct.
You got the one that counted, to be honest with you. But yeah, it is good. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know what to think because, like I said, I think the play calling was super vanilla, but I really want to know what they're going to do to neutralize Will Anderson. Like I said, I would do a lot of bootlegs, a lot of misdirection and stuff like that. And I think you're going to have to get a lot of your just playmakers on the field. Like if you have to put a bunch of running backs out there because that's our strongest room, that's fine. Just put your best players on the field and try to make something work because it's going to be tough sledding versus the Alabama defense. I think they're not going to be as good as Georgia's defense was last year because that's historically good, like a top 5 defense probably in college football history type good. But I think they can be pretty similar to that. I'm not pretty close to it.
I would agree. Will Anderson is an absolute freak. He's gonna bring it every single play. The guy does not look like he gets tired, so we're gonna have to game plan around that guy the whole game. Him and Dallas Turner. You got 2 safeties out there that are lights out. So
yeah, and I agree with this. Draw plays and quick screen plays, maybe your best bets. I would agree with that. That jet sweeps. Sark used to run that play last year where they would like the little pooch pass where it would be snapped and the quarterback basically just taps it to the running back or wide receiver in motion. You got to do those. You got to get your speed guys out there and try to like beat them speed wise. But that's about it. I don't think we're going to be able to just ground, especially with the young offensive line, ground and pound versus this team. If we try to do that, it's probably not going to work out.
Another thing that I want to see is the type of pressure that we brought tonight, because Bryce Young tends to waver in the face of pressure. If there is a chance to rattle that guy, we have to try. And I liked what I seen tonight. ULM's offensive line is nothing compared to Alabama's, but they have question marks as well.
100%. And the thing is about this Alabama team, they're very good, and I think they're going to beat us. But I do think if Quinn Ewers can connect on a couple deep balls early to get his confidence going, it's possible where he gets hot in this game and keeps us in it as long as possible. But he's going to have to do that. Like I said, the deep balls, it to me is very important in the Steve Sarkisian offense. And so far, it's just something that's been missing in the year and a game now that he's been here. So hopefully we can hit that versus Alabama. Obviously, it's going to be very hard with that defense, but we're hoping we can do that. Was there anyone on the offensive line in particular you saw as a weak point tonight, D4?
I actually seen Christian Jones have a few pancakes. But if I'm gonna say anything, it's just I'm going off past history. Jake Majors having trouble with a big nose tackle lined up in front of him, and Alabama has 2 on their depth chart that's listed as or DJ Dale, and I cannot remember the other guy's name, but that's who I say. I'm not saying anybody completely struggled tonight, but
yeah, and for me, Jake Majors, like he had the snap infraction of the game. That should not be happening. He's way too mature and he's experienced to where that's a freshman type mistake. You get that a couple times in your freshman year if you won it one time in your sophomore year. After that, it's over. He should not be having those type of mistakes. So hopefully he doesn't have those going forward. And I agree with you, Tide Guy. They're not as good as they usually are. But the thing is, our weakest part on our defense, other than our linebackers, is our defensive line when it comes to pass rushing. So we're going to have to manufacture pass rush versus this Alabama team. And there's 2 schools of thoughts. You can either rush 3, let Bryce Young sit back there and drop 8 and try to let him dice you up that way, or you can continuously blitz them all night. I don't know which one they're going to go with. You can obviously mix them up as well, but you're going to have to go one way or the other at some point, depending on which is working. Like what we saw with Ohio State tonight, Kirk Herbstreit brought it up, and I was thinking the same thing. What they did is exactly what the NFL has done to Patrick Mahomes. They've rushed 3. They put 8 back there and they say, here, we're going to let you have 4 yards every play if you want it. But guess what? I don't think you're patient enough to take 4 yards every single play and go to and just death by 1,000 cut us. So I don't know what we're going to do there. I don't know if that's the style we're going to go. It's going to be interesting to see what we decide to do.
Yeah. Some other notes I have here. some of the passes that Quinn had. I mean, the O line, he had tons of
all
time.
day. Yeah.
So it's not going to be the pass rush of Alabama. I'm not saying that, but it was impressive to have two freshmen starting and be that solid and give our quarterback that much time.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in saying this. I think Kelvin Banks, if he continues to progress at a rate we think he can do progress at, I think he can end up breaking the streak of non-first round picks, or he will become a first round pick possibly that we've long awaited. We haven't had one in over a decade at the offensive line position. He was very good tonight. I was very impressed with him. Like I said, Cole Hudson was good, not great. There were some plays in there where he definitely got beat. But overall, I'm not going to blame it. It's his first game. I was just thoroughly impressed with the offensive line, especially with what we had to deal with last year.
I completely agree. But what we had to deal with last year, I'm trying to put last year out of my mind. Nothing about this team reminds me of last year.
Yeah, I think
sorry.
this team is more calm than last year's team already. Like they don't get too high or too low from what I've seen. They're kind of just going with the flow, which is exactly what you want from a young team. That's actually the biggest thing what you have is young teams. Sometimes they'll get really amped up and go crazy, and then other times they'll just like bottom out. And I'm hoping that this continues and we don't see that versus the Alabama game where we don't come out guns a-blazing and then just all of a sudden fall flat on our place, and we're just consistent the whole game with our energy level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Otis is the other nose tackle that Alabama is going to bring.
And for you guys in here, can you please hit that like button? Please subscribe down below. It really helps out Mark Rogers TV. And obviously go to the Patreon link on his channel. So sign up for that. A lot of great content, a lot of great voices. You have picks on there for gambling. If you're into that, please do that. Also go over to the other channels, like their videos, subscribe on the Mark Rogers TV channel, and go over to D4 Sports, like his content, subscribe there. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, speaking about the Patreon, if I can speak on that for just a second. This Patreon, you get access to the Discord server. I'm on the Discord server. LW, Tide Guy, Tim Prangley, all of us guys over there. There's fan bases. There's Texas fans. There's fan bases from all across, the nation. And we get in there. We chop it up every single day. It's all football, no drama, and we just have a great time. After I get done here, I'm gonna go to the Discord server, hop in there, and talk some more football.
Yeah, if you love football, it's a great place to be, guys. Sign up down there with the Patreon link on Mark's channel. It really helps him out with what he's building. He does a great job. Thank you guys very much. Todd Guy, thank you for tuning in. Like I said, we'll be here every week with the 40 Acres post-game show live, D4 Sports, and myself, Matthew Miller. So please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Stay up with the content. We'll be here, win or loss. And we're going to probably be going live on the main channel next week after the game, since it is the biggest game, or at least one of the two biggest games of the weekend.
Yeah, College game day will be in Austin.
D4 brings up the class in that den of evil.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that.
Tim, what were you impressed tonight with from your USC Trojans? Obviously, they won that game pretty convincingly. And on the other side, or not the other side of town, in the same city, UCLA got off the bus and played terrible the first half versus Bowling Green. I don't know what the hell was going on there. What other games did you watch today, D4?
Man, I watched every game I could get a hold of. I had three TVs going. But I watched the Oregon Oregon Georgia game. I watched the Arkansas Cincinnati game, which I had our pick to put a whooping on Cincinnati, but that didn't happen. The North Carolina Appalachian State game.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for Mac Brown, and I keep up with the North Carolina Tar Heels, but they almost, yeah.
And 100% Tim Prongley, we're glad to get those two guys out of the Big 12. Lincoln Riley is one of the top 3 offensive minds in college football, along with Steve Sarkisian. And Caleb Williams is, in my opinion, going to be the number 1 quarterback taken when he comes out after next year. I think he's that good. That's why he's able to take over from Spencer Rattler. And Spencer Rattler's not bad. Spencer Rattler had a bad year last year, but the year before he was good, and I think he's going to be decent with South Carolina. So I think USC is definitely going to get back on the right track with those guys. I definitely like what Lincoln Riley's doing, and I don't really dislike Lincoln Riley. So if he has success at USC, I won't really care. I just didn't want him to have success at Oklahoma.
Yeah, we don't want nobody to have success at Oklahoma. I hope Brent Venables fails terribly.
They did play pretty well today, especially early on. Dylan Gabriel did look good versus a decent UTEP team. We're going to get to play them week 3, so that'll be interesting how those two games line up with each other.
For sure. Tim said Caleb and Lincoln were as advertised in that game. I had that game on as well during the Texas game, but. Back to our team, I was very impressed with how, even though it was a mistake, the growth of Quinn Ewers, he threw the interception and immediately went straight to Sark. They had a conversation. He came out. I think the one I had down here, Ewers started 0 of 2 with an interception and finished the half 11 of 14. So that was pretty good of him and maturing in the moment.
Yeah, if you get rid of his first 2 passes, he's 16 of 22 for 225 and 2 touchdowns. So that's a pretty good day. He didn't play, like I said, didn't play great, didn't play terrible. Like I said, if we had a lot more talent around him, I think we'd have a chance versus Alabama, because I think at this point he's able to just steer the ship in the right direction, but I don't think he's able to put a team on his back yet, which is obviously understandable. It was the guy's first start. I don't think we'll see that type of stuff till the end of next year, end of this year, beginning of next year. But it was definitely good to see him get his feet wet and play a pretty good game overall.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And I actually wanted to see at the end of the game. I wish Malik Murphy got the snaps that Hudson Card did.
Yeah, I would. It would not shock me if that happens one more time, where Hudson Card just looks lost, that Malik Murphy becomes the backup quarterback.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Charles Wright got in over Malik.
Yeah, that surprised me too, because I don't see any scenario where Charles Wright ever starts a game for the University of Texas.
No, he's either going to be a lifetime backup or he's going to transfer somewhere small, and I just don't see it. I just don't see him being.
And that's no like shot at him. He's just not super talented. But props to him for being able to get a scholarship at the University of Texas. Not many people can do that, but yeah, I just don't see him being able to take snaps. And I think Malik Murphy has a really good chance when Quinn Ewers is gone. I think there's a really good chance him and Arch Manning could be competing for the starting spot. So I think it's important to get him some reps to see what he can do.
That's the possibility that Malik could be that bridge quarterback in between Ewers and Manning.
100%. And did Jordan Whittington, he didn't do much tonight, did he? Did he only have, 1 or 2 catches?
I think he had 2 receptions for, let's see. He had 3 receptions for 26 yards.
Okay, so overall, we really didn't do much with our wide receivers tonight. The only big play that obviously comes to mind is Casey Kane, and that guy, again, track speed. That guy's big and can run fast. Like I said, Sark has the type. He loves those 5'10" to 6'2" wide receivers that can absolutely blaze it down the field. And I think that's why you see someone like a Troy O'Meary third on the depth chart at his position. I don't think he's really fits in what Sark wants to do. And unless an injury occurs or they really struggle in the red zone, I really don't see him getting many snaps.
Yeah, that's another guy that not exactly him, but there's still players that Sark inherited that are still they're going to be on scholarship or until they transfer or graduate. But I think, with our recruiting class, we're getting the guys that he wants in, Cook, Niblet, just guys that he wants in his system And I think that's going to make the biggest difference. I don't think this is the year. I think it's the year before the year.
100%. I agree with that. This is a building block year. We're just laying the foundation for what we want to happen next year. So far, so good. 1-0, can't complain. Let's get 6, 7 more of these and call it a good year. And I can't wait to watch them unfold. I can't wait to break them down with you guys. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. We're brought to you by MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, as you see down below. Go like all of his content, subscribe to all of his content, and go over to D4 Sports and like his content, subscribe there as well. LW he's an Alabama fan, correct?
Correct.
LW, what is your prediction for next week? What is your score prediction? And give us a real one. Don't be trolling in here with. I saw you put in here. Someone said 117-0. So that's definitely not going to happen. But I mean, it'd be interesting. We'd be on the worst butt kicking in modern day football history. I wouldn't enjoy it, but no. I don't see that happening.
I just don't want to be Oregon.
No, I really don't. That would be very depressing if it's 49-3. I will not enjoy that. It will not be fun. And the thing is, watching that game, Bo Nix had time to throw at certain points, and I don't know what, he's just not very good because he was throwing it. That one, he just kind of just threw up, lofted it, and it was a terrible pass. It was, I believe, his first interception. And I think Georgia this year is going to rely more on that secondary where they're special with Keely Ringo and those guys back there more than their front seven. Their front seven's still very good, but it's just not what they had last year.
Yeah, they're still an elite defense. They're still going to be one of the top defenses in the country, along with Alabama and Clemson, I believe. But you could tell Dan Lanning was a first-year head coach.
Yes.
By the decisions that he made, his body language, Kirby Smart come out there and showed why he was the boss, and that's what he did.
Man, I'm looking at Georgia's schedule right now, and after that butt kicking, other than a couple, Florida and I think South Carolina's a sneaky game in week 3. There's not many losses on there. Kentucky, I don't believe in. You saw what they did versus Miami of Ohio. I don't think they're that good. I think they're overhyped. But that schedule's very easy for Georgia this year. I mean, like I said, Florida, the cocktail party, but then in South Carolina in week 3 at South Carolina, I think will be pretty interesting because I think Spencer Rattler has the ability, if he gets time, to make some big plays. But that's going to be very interesting.
I agree. I think Tennessee's a dangerous team for them just because of their tempo. But I don't see them beating them. I think if you look at the top 4 right now, which we haven't seen Clemson play yet. We don't know how they're going to look, if their offense is improved or not. But if Ohio State played either Alabama or Georgia right now, I think they're beat.
I would agree with that. And obviously week 1, but 100% agree with that. And Georgia looked very good. Especially Stetson Bennett's improved a lot. He played very good today. I was actually mightily impressed. This has been the first time where I've seen Stetson Bennett play and say, oh, that's why they started him. Other times I'm like, really, this guy? But he played very well today. I can't say anything bad about him. And LW has a prediction up here at 34-17. I'd be 100% fine with that as a Texas fan. I think we could walk with our hands held high, 34-17. And that's basically what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking 42-20, something like that. So, and I'd be cool with that as well. I would be very impressed with our defense if we only allowed 34 points. If that was the case, then our defense in the Big 12 should be very, very good.
Yeah, next Saturday is my birthday as well. So I'm hoping not to get heartbroken on my birthday.
Yeah, just don't hope for the blowout. You can't be wishing for the win here because I don't think that's going to happen. But if you wish for the non-blowout, I think we can get that one for you.
You're right.
Dan Lanning was pouring sweat from opening kick until the final whistle. Probably lost 7 pounds. I think. Did he gain weight? By the way, like with Georgia, he looked pretty skinny. He was getting pretty big there on the sidelines with Oregon. Maybe I'm just wrong on that. I just don't remember him, but. That to me isn't a good sign either. Like if that tells me he's happy with where he's at right now, and that's just me though. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd have to look.
Hey, he's making more money. He's eating good.
Yeah, that's very true. That salary probably tripled. So
Yeah, he ain't getting that coordinator money no more. He's getting that head coach money.
yeah, he's getting that Nike or Phil Knight money
Mm-hmm.
direct to the bank. That is true.
What's
And I
up, one?
And
Oh,
I
sorry.
think he will be able to do stuff at Oregon, like create a culture of toughness. And I think he has some players there to do that already. And Oregon recruits at a decent level, so I think he'll be a decent head coach. I just don't know. Just like the Big Ten didn't take Oregon in their first run, taking UCLA and USC. I think fans view Oregon different than other conferences and other teams view Oregon. I don't think Oregon's as highly thought of around the country by coaches and other people as it is by the fans, as you saw Mario Cristobal leaving Oregon for Miami. I know that's his alma mater, but still, if it was a better job, he wouldn't have done it.
I agree. What's up, One Scoop John? Thanks for coming, buddy.
So is the Den of Evil like the nickname you guys give that?
Yeah, Tim likes to joke around. There's nothing but great guys in there.
I may have to join at some point. I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, you definitely learn a lot from each other about their teams and stuff like that, and you kind of bounce off of each other. Everybody helps each other out on shows, on just everything.
And that's the thing why this channel and this platform is so great that Mark has, because you get people from the fan bases that really pay attention to their teams and come together and share with other people from other different fan bases who can also share back and forth. Whereas if you get these big guys on TV, they can't keep up with this type of stuff because it's basically impossible for one guy to keep up with everything. Even Mark can't keep up with the number 129 and 130 teams in college football. He needs help, and that's what I'm saying. He's building this community to where we can all share and all help each other learn and all educate each other, and it's great. And that's why you guys need to subscribe and hit that like button, and go over to all the other channels and subscribe and hit their like button as well. Go over to D4 Sports, subscribe and hit his like button. And D4, you want to plug that Patreon again real quick?
Yeah, man. Patreon, $5 a month. People that super chat Mark can save that super chat, join the Patreon for $5 a month. Come hang out with us. There's a lot of people in there. We have nightly chats. We'll come in a StreamYard like we are right now. 9 of us talking football, like pure football. You can ask for nicer guys. One Scoop John, another guy that's in there. We get together. He's a Michigan fan. We don't hold that against him, even though, flashback to 2004 or Rose Bowl, John, just to remind you of that. But we talk to him anyway, even though he's a Michigan fan.
Yeah, they're very hard to talk to, too. I mean, no, I'm kidding. I'm from Ohio, so actually, if I had to choose, I would root for Michigan over Ohio State. I know there's family members that watch these videos that I do that would probably disown me if they heard that, but they know. But Michigan, by the way, looked very good today. They need to make a decision on the quarterback, though. J.J. McCarthy's got to be the guy. But that team, ever since he's taken that pay cut, I think Jim Harbaugh has kind of returned to his old self of not giving an F. And that's really turned out to be well. And I think they're going to be number 2. And possibly, if they play like they did today going forward, and Ohio State plays like they did today going forward, they could beat Ohio State again.
Ohio State looked very vulnerable tonight.
Their defense looked better, but again, I really think C.J. Stroud's going to have to get better at reading defenses, because I think teams are going to do exactly what Kirk Herbstreit and what I was thinking in my mind of, where in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs, they were scared of getting beat over the top all the time, so they decided, guess what? You're not going to beat us over top. We're going to put 8 guys back there, rush 3, and you're going to have to throw 4 to 5 yard passes consistently and then score in the red zone. And we'll see if Ohio State can eventually do that, or if some teams, for whatever reason, something may work when they see it on tape, but then they go the opposite way because the coaches want to feel like a genius. So you may get 1 or 2 games on the schedule with Ohio State where the teams are like, I don't care what Notre Dame did, I'm doing this, and it's probably not going to work. But I think most teams are going to try to copy what Notre Dame did tonight.
Yeah, they gave them a carbon copy on how to slow down that offense. They have, probably the best receiving room in the nation, if not the second. Them and USC are kind of,
And Jackson Smith and Jigba did get hurt. I don't know how serious that was, but he was on the sideline, but he just didn't play.
Yeah, but Mbuka
Yeah.
made up for it with I think he had 9 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. I mean, just absolutely.
I think he was number 1 or 2 in his class when he came out too. So it's funny when Marvin Harrison Jr. is like your least highly rated recruited receiver, and his dad's one of the 7 best wide receivers to ever play in the NFL.
Yeah, and then of course, Travion Henderson went off in that game. He had 90 yards or so, and just that he's one of the top. I put him slightly behind Bijan in the running back rankings, but their defense looked very much improved. They had a pass rush. They did what they were supposed to do to come out with a victory. They didn't cover the point spread, but they looked vulnerable at times, but they pulled out the win against the number 5 ranked Fighting Irish.
And Myron Williams on that one drive played very well tonight as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's only a couple of Bama fans on the Patreon, so it's not that bad.
It's so crispy. Nobody makes
over there
breakfast.
joining. Hey, Bama fans aren't terrible. They're not the worst fan base I can think of, but obviously not the best either. But they also have a lot to brag about. Like if my team was consistently getting in and winning national championships, I would understand that too. I think they have gotten spoiled where they don't show up to games sometimes, and that does bother me because at some point Nick Saban is going to retire and the wheels are going to fall off to a certain extent. So I think you need to enjoy the good times while you have them.
Oh, I completely 100% agree. And LW he's as normal of a Bama fan as you can get.
Just like we're normal Texas fans.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking for you. I'm guessing with that attitude.
I'm a college football freak.
I get it. I'm more of like just a sports freak in general. Like I love college football, but I love basically all sports other than NASCAR. I know that may hurt some of you Southern people, but
well, me being a former coach, I've coached at various levels of football, but I like to break it down analytically and what I see. I coached defense for years, and I'll be like, man, we need to run this, we need to run that. I'm not the defense coordinator, but I can see it. I can see it in motion, going like this is what I would call, or this is we got a weakness here, or they got us there, or it's fun for me to watch, and because I can break it down.
No, I totally get it. And guys, I think we're about done here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. We will be back here next week on this channel. Also, most likely multicast streaming onto MarkRogersTV, the main channel, after the Alabama-Texas game. Kicks off at noon Eastern time on Fox. Tune in that game. It should be a pretty good game, pretty fun atmosphere in Austin, Texas, with game day headed there. But again, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Go over to D4 Sports. Hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hook 'em.